Hey guys, it's Laurie. I feel like I haven't shown my face on my channel since forever, so I thought I'd come on and say hey. And this is my newest puppy. His name is Odie, and he's a Mauser, which is part Maltese and part mini Schnauzer, and he's just about 10 months old. Today I'm going to be making 3 Christmas DIYs, and if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that little red subscribe button below, and let's get busy. I'm starting my first project by using one of the Dollar Tree 2022 Farmers Market calendars. They have some really cute pictures, and I'm going to end up using December's Happy Holidays for my project. After I have it removed, I'm going to place it aside and make its base. For the riser, I'm using one of these Dollar Tree signs, and it measures 11 by 11, which is the same size as the calendar. I'll be using the back, and for the legs, I'm using these Dollar Tree Lego style treat boxes that I found in the toy department. I'm going to be attaching one in each corner using my E6000. I'm going to be working on the back of the sign, so I turned it over, and I'm attaching one block in each corner. And to give my riser little feet, I'm making sure the stud side of the Lego is facing up. I wanted to share with you today that I am participating in my monthly friend collab group hosted by Liana from Liana DIY, and this month our special guest host is Lisa Kennedy, Dollar Mom. All these crafty women are making holiday DIYs, so please be sure to check out the amazing playlist. I'll have that linked below in my description. I'm turning my riser over, and I'm using just about one full package of these Dollar Tree tumbling tower blocks. I'm giving my riser 4 double edges, so I'm measuring 2 layers of blocks on one end. It totals 12 blocks, so I used 24, and I made one for the top and one for the bottom. To attach them together, I'm using my Quick-Set Starbond thick glue, and it's my go-to glue for all my unfinished wood projects. I'm attaching the 12 top pieces together and then the 12 bottom. The Starbond glue attaches them together in about 5 minutes. It's so quick, and if you'd like to give it a try, I have the company linked below along with a discount coupon code. Once they're all attached, I'm placing each on the riser. I'm then adding more blocks to see how many I'll need for the sides. I ended up with a small space that is exactly one width of one of the blocks, so I ended up measuring it, and I cut 4 of them to size. I once again used my Starbond thick glue to attach them together, and I added the short pieces on the ends. While I was letting my pieces set up, I used some vanilla acrylic paint, and I coated the entire riser. I ended up giving the legs 2 coats of paint, and when it was completely dry, and I was adding my Happy Holidays calendar page, because the word holidays was so close to the right edge, I ended up taking about an inch or so off from the left side of the picture. To attach it, I used a glue stick and made sure to add plenty to the top. When I was done, I added my picture, and you'll see that there's about an inch showing of the riser on the right-hand side. I then flattened it down, pressing away any of the wrinkles, and I had tried Mod Podge in the past. It was a complete nightmare. There was so many wrinkles, and all the lines and the numbers from underneath the page came through, so that's why I ended up using a glue stick. When that was complete, I then used the same vanilla color acrylic paint, and I painted all 4 of my block sides. I only painted the 3 sides and the ends because the bottom part I'm attaching onto the riser. On the Happy Holidays page, there are some wood accents on the top and the bottom. So I'm using some brown acrylic paint in my paintbrush, and I'm just adding some random lines here and there on my wood edges. Then using my finger, I'm just kind of rubbing in the marks to give the appearance of birch wood. I just wanted to give my riser a bit of character, but this is completely optional. You can always just leave them plain. When I was done, I then followed the same instructions for all 4 of the legs. When all my pieces were dry, I then once again used my E6000 to attach on the wooden sides to the riser. I'm making a Christmas riser with my Dollar Tree calendar, but I think you could use any month and it would come out super cute. I'm adding on some accent handles, and once again using my Starbond glue, I glued 2 sets of 3 tumbling blocks together along with 2 sets of 2 tumbling blocks together. I'm painting my 2 sets of 2 with a crimson acrylic paint and my 2 sets of 3 with a forest green along with 2 single blocks. Once they're dry, I'm then using my E6000 and I'm attaching them to the top and the bottom of the riser in a stacked format. I'm placing the 2 greens on the bottom, the red in the middle, and then another green on the top. And when I was done, my Dollar Tree calendar Christmas riser was complete, and you can also stand it up on its legs and use it as a Christmas backdrop. I'm starting my second DIY by using one of the Christmas elf hats from the Dollar Tree. I removed the tag and I'm using some polyfill that I had on hand to fill the inside of the hat. If you don't have polyfill on hand, you can use anything at all, paper towels or newspaper or even some socks, anything at all that will have the hat standing up straight. To keep the polyfill from falling out, I'm using a piece of cardboard, and this was actually a frozen pizza insert, and I'm just tracing the hat onto the cardboard. It's going to come out a weird shape, and when I was done, I used my scissors and I cut it out. I then made sure that it would fit into place. I popped it out, added some hot glue, and attached it under the hat. Once it's glued into place and my hat can stand on its own, there's a little bit extra of that faux fur on the sides, so I just used my glue gun and kind of folded it up so that it was nice and tight to the hat. I'm adding a white tulle accent to the bottom of the hat, and I found mine in the wedding department at Dollar Tree. I'm cutting my tulle into 6-inch pieces. To make cutting the tulle easier, I cut out a 6-inch piece of cardboard, and then all I do is wrap the tulle around it until the roll is finished. When I'm done, I cut both ends, and then my tulle is ready to use. I'm going to be attaching 3 sheets of tulle together, and you want to either use a white chenille stem or some wire, and of course, this is all I had for white chenille stem, so I just opted to use my wire. Attaching the 3 sheets together is super easy. I just gathered them in the center, and I wasn't really fussy that the edges were all perfect. I wrapped a small piece of wire around the center, twisted it together tightly. I cut off the end, and then the little tail, I just kind of folded it over. I used about 2.5 rolls of the white tulle, and I continued making them until I had a little bouquet. Adding the tulle to the bottom of the hat is super easy. All I did was add a dot of hot glue onto that faux white fur, and then just place a piece of tulle against it. I continued working my way around until the bottom of the hat was completely covered in the white tulle. When you're adding the tulle, you can make it as thick or as thin as you like. I'm making this for a friend and she asked for a big bow, so I'm using 2 of these ribbons from the Dollar Tree and this green sparkly one from the Christmas tree shop. I used my bow maker and I placed down a piece of floral wire first. I measured my first ribbon tail at 6 inches and then I made 4 6-inch loops and another 4-inch tail. Then using my next ribbon, I made a 6-inch tail and then about 4 5 3/4-inch loops and then another 6-inch tail. And from there, I finished off with my green ribbon and a 6-inch tail, 4 5-inch loops, and my final 6-inch tail. I wrapped it all up with my floral wire and then I fluffed out the loops. When I was done, I then cut off the excess wire on the bottom, and then using my glue gun, I attached it to the side of the hat. To embellish the bow, I'm using some leftover greenery, pine cones, and berries from Dollar Tree picks that I had. I'm adding some white acrylic paint on the 2 smaller pine cones so they have the same snowy appearance as the larger one. Once they had dried, I then added my accents to the side of the hat. I'm adding all these pieces that I already had on hand, but you can add just about anything you want to this project. With my bow complete and in place, I'm going to be adding some tulle around the palm at the top of the hat. And once again, I'm just using my glue gun and hot gluing some of it into place. And because there's a lot going on the bottom part of the hat, I'm just going to add on a simple sprig of the red berries. To add my accents onto the bottom part of the hat, I'm using some Dollar Tree ornaments that I have out of the package and some new in the package. And once again, I just used my glue gun and I glued them all around the bottom of the tulle. When I was done, I then added a couple to accent my bow. I'm adding some elf legs under my hat, and this set from the Dollar Tree will work great, but I'm using this set of legs that I picked up at Michael's. After Christmas last year, I picked them up for 40 cents each. I removed the tags, added on some hot glue, and then just tucked them under the hat. For the last accent on my elf hat centerpiece, I'm using some of these red and green jingle bells from the Dollar Tree. And just like the ornaments, I'm using my hot glue gun and I'm gluing them randomly all over the tulle. And once I'm done, my Dollar Tree elf centerpiece is ready to display. To make my Dollar Tree calendar ornaments, I'm using the small pictures on the back of the 2022 calendars. For the base of my ornaments, I'm using 2 canning lids and rings. After deciding which pictures I wanted to use, I just placed the lid on top of them and drew a circle around them. And then I cut them both out. I have 1 set of gold and 1 set of silver canning jar rings and lids. I'm keeping the silver set, but I'm spraying my gold set front and back along with the back of the silver with my white spray paint. With my paint dry, I'm adding the year 2021 on the back of the lids using some of these black and green stickers from the Dollar Tree. You can always write it on or write a little message or even just leave it blank. To attach my small calendar pictures to the lids, I added a generous amount of glue from my glue stick and I pressed them into place. If a little bit of edging shows up on the sides, you can always cover it with some matching paint. To embellish the outside of the rings, I'm using some pearl wrap from the Dollar Tree, along with some black lace edging that I already had on hand. I used my glue gun and I added the black lace around the outside of the white ring. I cut the pearl wrap to fit and then I attached that to the silver ring. To add on the hangers, I'm cutting a piece of black ribbon for my white ring and a piece of brown cord for my silver. I decided on the length and then wrapped it around the ring and secured it together with a simple knot. I made sure the knot was on the back and then I added a few dots of hot glue and inserted my picture. I then followed the exact same instructions for my silver ring. I made a bow out of the Dollar Tree farmhouse ribbon and the green gingham ribbon, and I added those to the top. When I was done, I then embellished the top with some Dollar Tree green jingle bells and some small pine cones. When I was done, my Dollar Tree calendar ornaments were ready to hang. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you had fun making these Christmas projects with me. If you're new to my channel and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye, everybody!